Hey, whether you got the morning wood or the morning should, it's time to get the day going. Good morning. If you're rolling over with the morning wood, men, you better do something about it. Or you better get your ass out of bed. It's Tuesday. Mornings in the lab. Keith Bilous, CMarty Fit, Jon Andersen. We're going to navigate the complexity. Oh, big word. It's a big word for Uncle Keith this morning. Navigating the complexity of modern masculinity. We got a special guest here today. AJ Zeglen's joining us here. Do you guys know AJ? Friend of the lab, the original business athlete coming in here today. Boys, we are going to dig into... we're going to get into today emotional vulnerability and expressing feelings. Yeah. Relationship stability and authenticity. And of course, living up to expectations. And if we have time, guys, we're going to get into fatherhood and parenting today on the show. But before we go further, I got to tell you guys, I just had a quick chat with our friend Jon Andersen over in the green room. He's normal today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The guy, I think, is actually maybe a little bit normal today, Marty Fit. Jon does not have the energy that Jon usually. I know, Marty. Marty, I know. He comes into the lab this morning. I open up the screen. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, brother.
Let's get something straight. Let's get something.
I got to get him right.
There's nothing normal. There's nothing average about me ever. I can be a little tired, yes. And I can be in the green room taking a breather before I get out here ready to kick ass. Yes. But don't ever tag me with normal. Don't ever tag me with average. Let's get that straight right now.
Marty.
You know what, man?
Marty, you can say whatever you want. I'm gonna come after you like a goddamn wildcat also.
I'll give Jon a pass today. I thought Jon said don't let people know when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling a certain way. But we're expressing feelings today, so I'll give Jon a pass for expressing himself.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Good morning, good time. And boys, I am exceptionally giddy right now, Marty and Johnny. Somebody yesterday waited their entire day for this moment. They went through the day. They sat back, Marty. You know I'm going at, Marty. They sat through the day. They wondered, and they're going, oh, my God, I can't wait until tomorrow morning. I can't wait until 8 o'clock Eastern time so I can join Christopher Martin, AKC Marty Fit, and I can't wait to join the Jon Andersen, and I cannot wait to join Keith Bilous, and I cannot wait to join Christina Flynn. Marty, Jon, we have in the comments Cam.
Oh, God.
Marty, I want you to pull the cash register out because Cam keeps tuning in and Cam keeps jacking up the cash register because every time, yep, Cam, the views keep ticking in, Cammer. So I'm glad you're first thing in the feeds, Cam. I cannot wait. I got my armored flak jacket on. AJ's got his flak jacket on. We are waiting for all of and here he goes. And then
here's the thing. He comes in and hears some wild shit, right? Well, yeah. What are you going to say today to outdo yesterday is the question.
Oh, Cam, we love you, man. Thumbs up. We got 2 thumbs up this morning from Cam.
Hey, Cam, I got leg day today. Yesterday was upper body. Leg day today, Cam. To answer your question. Since you want to know so bad, since you're so worried about it, I don't know what that's all about, but hey.
We got my personal trainer and mental psychotherapist, AJ Zeglen, hanging out in the green room. He's going to join us here in a few minutes. Good time, as asked Marty. Good times asking to cut the perfects. Yeah.
I had to get a battery replacement, and that was it. Just simple. That was it. I needed a new battery. It's been 5 years.
There you go. Yeah.
So the first 15 minutes of the show, guys, we're as we continue to tweak and play with the format. First 15 minutes, current events, conversation starters, get the shit going, get the day going. We talked yesterday about morning woods, and Johnny was like, hey, boys, if you start your day with the morning wood, you got to do something with it. Right? So if you're starting your day with the morning wood, boys,
put it to work, baby.
Yeah, put it to work. Don't hit the snooze button. Put the wood to work because you're only getting older. True story. 100%. So, Johnny, how was your day yesterday? I'm really curious, man. I know you're not normal. I know you're a little out there. You had a hectic day getting back home, and how was the day getting sorted out back in the homestead there, Andersen?
Well, I only had a few hours of sleep. That was the challenge. But that's the line of the sand. Do you get up and you do your shit, or do you lay down like a little bitch? So I got up and I muscled through it. But I'll tell you, by about 5 o'clock, I was like unplugged, man. It was like it was all I could do to get that 5 o'clock meal in. And I mean, I'm probably asleep by 5:30.
Dude, yeah.
I couldn't stay awake. I was like, it was like I knew that I was so tired. I knew that pretty much whatever time I fell asleep, it was after 4. I was going to sleep till 3. So I was so wiped out. So, but I basically muscled it out so Tara and I could have our time and have some dinner. And I literally it was like as soon as that food hit my stomach, I just fell apart. I went to sleep.
You got to listen to your body, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a lack of sleep. That day was a little screwy coming home. Funny enough, I'm not in the mountains, but I got another bear story. Check this out.
Oh,
so my uncle basically went to the cabin, right? And I don't know what. I guess just to put plainly, I guess that bear wasn't quite as intimidated because the son of a bitch broke in through the kitchen window and wiped out all of the food in the cabin.
Because it looked in the window, it didn't see Uncle Jon there.
Yeah, I think that was the problem.
Probably.
I think he thought, you know what, he looked in the window with my uncle. My uncle's in the 70s. He looked in the window, thought, this is an easy win. I'm gonna go get something to eat.
Yeah, he looked in the window, Marty, and saw Johnny's his 70-year-old Uncle John's uncle's saggy ass in the window. The bear's like, where's the bodybuilder's saggy ass in the window this morning? And he's like, he's not there. So he just kind of worked his way in.
Yeah,
is that how it works?
So.
He literally just broke a window through. Was not taken. He was coming for what he wanted.
There you go. Good morning, Jimmy. Morning, lightsabers. Good to have you here this morning. Cam heard a separate podcast called Bear Stories and leave them there. That's actually pretty funny, Cam. That's a pretty good one. Hey, boys, why don't we take a moment out of the show here before we get into the accountability check-in and get the Marty Fit tip? We rock and rolled with a great lifestyle tip yesterday. John was all over you guys about not hitting the snooze button. And, of course, the Creator Spotlight top of the hour here today. Boys, I got another surprise for you guys. Yesterday we leaned into fakery and sorcery and all the craziness happening on the social platforms. Well, today we're going to kind of continue the discussion. Somebody else is out there just shining the light on just the craziness, and we're gonna celebrate somebody here today. But before we go further, boys, why don't we take our light? Why don't we take the Keith, John, and Marty bat light and shine it on our good friend producer Christina and bring her into the lab and put her on the spot and see how her wedding weekend was and see how Sudbury was. She's shaking her head right now. She's like, "Oh, really, boys? Yeah, really. How are you, Tina?"
Can't complain.
Yeah,
what's up, Tina?
Spending the morning with my 3 favorite guys.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how you enter the show. That's how you get on the show.
That's how you get it. That's exactly it.
That's how you get it. Just kiss the rings.
So, Tina, tell us about the wedding weekend in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Christina Flynn.
Well, if you've been to Sudbury, I don't need to tell you anything about it. If you haven't, you're good. No need to go. However, there are lovely people there. So I was there visiting my cousin. She got married. Haven't seen her in ages. Hung out with a lot of people. Absolutely had a couple too many drinks. Sorry, John. And yeah, we had a good time.
Get her, John.
Hey, listen, my decisions are I don't have to force my decisions on other people. It's not like Christina. It's not like Christina didn't come on here and say, what, I'm sober and I walk the walk. She didn't break any of her own rules here. She didn't say that she was sober. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed those drinks.
There you go.
She's a grown ass woman and she has drinks if she wants to.
I'm curious how Christina's head was feeling the next day.
Not too bad. I'm pretty good now. I'm old. I'm 40. I know when to switch to soda water. And so I do a pretty good job with that.
Oh, yeah, you're old and you're a mom. So I think as you get old and you become mom, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I just won't be the drunk 30-year-old anymore because I got a couple kids that are watching me too, right? Or the next day, you're like, I got to take care of them the next day.
Hangover with a kid is no joke, but I didn't have my kids. So it was me, my 2 sisters, and my wife. And we let loose, but back at it. 2-day hangovers when you get to 40.
That's
Maybe even a little sooner.
That's it. That's it. Hey, so team, we have a big show today. We're getting to continue our conversation with men's insecurities. Today's from boys to men, and no, not the rock band, or I guess the R&B band. Sorry. But before we get into the accountability check-in, and before we get into the main topic, I think I'm going to throw something on the table for all of us here today, which is a quick little conversation starter. 3 signs your partner loves you more than you think, by a psychologist. So, Johnny. First one, and I'm looking at you, John, because I'm suspecting as the habit stacker of our group, you're like holding everybody accountable in your circle. So when your partner, and you've told me this, John, that's why I'm calling you, buddy. When your partner knows your self-sabotage cues, you've told me, Terry, and you said, hey, Keith, just give me a hand signal or something. When your partner knows your self-sabotage cues and calls you out on them, it's a sign of deep understanding and care.
That is the biggest sign of love that there is. When your loved one will be honest with you, there is no greater sign of love.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I'm getting to, I'm learning that even just, with Lauren and my relationship with my lovely bride there. They've taken the time to learn your patterns, those moments when you might unknowingly undermine your own happiness, success, or relationship, right? So if somebody loves you, Marty, they're stopping you from self-sabotaging. What do you think of that?
Oh yeah, no, I agree, and I always tell my, I joke with my clients, and I'll be like, yeah, I love you more than your husband loves you because I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
He ain't telling you the truth.
Yeah, that's
But
beautiful. That's so
absolutely
true,
agree.
bro. That's so true. I mean, Terry's got this little phrase, whether she's got all different ways she communicates with me when I'm doing dumb shit, but she'll say, usually this has got to do with food. If I'm getting ready to eat something a little more than I'm supposed to, or just getting close to the edge, she'll look at me and say, I don't think that's a good idea. And I'm like, damn it. It just hits me right. It's like she just literally just gut shot at me. It was like took the air away, but it's exactly what I needed. And then it puts the reality back in my brain. I'm like, come on, dude, what are you doing?
Let's see. Yeah. Well, you told me, you're like, hey, Keith, as we're working together, don't be afraid to give me signals if I'm doing something or because we're trying to communicate to the camera here, right? So I'm like, I love you, dude. I'm looking out for you, so I'm going to give you a signal, right? So, hey, Tina, number 2, proactively planning and acting on your future together is another sign of active love from your partner. When your partner creates future plans with you and actively works to make them a reality with you, it's a powerful sign of their commitment and love to you.
Mm-hmm.
Plan in the future.
My wife is the planner in our relationship. So if it weren't for her, we would do literally nothing. So I am incredibly grateful for her for making sure that our life moves forward.
So you both stare at the list in the paper and she picks up the pen, right? And she's like, okay, I guess I'm writing shit down.
She doesn't even let me stare. And I know not to anymore. Like I go, what do you need from me? And when do you need it?
Hey, can't be more clear than that. 3 signs your partner loves you more than you think by a psychologist. And Marty, last one before we get into the accountability check-in, Jimmy, and bring our friend AJ Zeglen into the lab. Number 3, Jimmy, self-improvement for a stronger relationship, Christopher Martin. When your partner makes a conscious effort to work on themselves to be better for you, again, we talked about it yesterday, Marty. You're like, hey, when you meet girls, you're like, this is all that I am. Here's everything for you to see. I train, I take care of myself. It's a profound demonstration of their love and commitment. This kind of self-commitment might involve addressing personal habits, but the reality is when you focus on your self-improvement or your partner does, it shows that they are committed to their relationship.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. And so when I said yesterday that, I'll tell them about myself, I expect the same in return. And we give each other the same energy so we can be the best for each other. So
I'm going to lean into this, Marty, because Tina, I'm sorry right off the bat here because I've got to be selective with my words here, Tina. So I'm just going to be slow. She's thinking,
Terrifying that you just warned me.
Yeah. So Marty, you like to, I appreciate what you call it on your show. And some of the things you call out are men and women, men and men, women and women, couples, relationships. We go through time together, and Johnny, sometimes our other half of our couple's habits change. And maybe over time, somebody you fell in love with that was hot and had this hot body and looked exceptionally hot in clothes, you wake up and they're like, hey,
Where did you go from 10 years ago? Oh, what's happened? I'm being selective. You guys know what I'm saying. So I'm just saying that self-improvement for a stronger relationship. We talk about morning wood, boys. Boys, if you get up and got the bed hanging out and your ass hanging out.
Brother, we're talking about jerking off. We talk about morning wood. Why are you veering away from the word fat if that's what you're trying to stay away from?
Well, I was just going to put it out there. But yeah, boys, if you're waking up and you're feeling shitty about yourself, dude, take some self-improvement. Take care of yourself. Your wife might want to touch you. Just saying.
Yeah, and a lot of times, guys, we put so much emphasis on the woman and what she looks like and what is she doing. But it's like, bro, you got to take care of yourself too.
Totally, man.
I don't care how much money you get.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It comes down to you got to lead by example. If you want your mate to stay in shape, get your ass in shape. Stay in shape. Do what you do. I mean, it's like what do you expect that your mate's going to stay in shape when you're off eating cookies? Come on.
Well,
I think it's less too about. Sorry, Keith. No. I think it's less too about the body, but rather like what does it represent? Like if you know that person is working out and you know they're getting yours and their body's just changing as it happens to both men and women and all people, that's going to be a very different thing than when you wake up in the morning and you just know, one, they're not happy. They're not happy with themselves or their body. And it's representing like a much bigger story as to what's going on.
Yeah, no, you know what? You're absolutely right, Tina. And I lean into the body because we talk about image and sexual imaging and you know and so forth. But you're absolutely right. And because if you have bad habits, if you're sitting around stinking and not cleaning yourself and being a lazy schlep, your wife ain't attracted to you. And I'll be vulnerable.
Did you just say not cleaning yourself? Oh, whoa, that's a whole baby. That's a different level of missing self-care there.
Well, I'm thinking there's some boys tuning in right now that are thinking, my wife loves me anyways. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't actually, dude. So I'm gonna tell you something, boys and girls. I myself, your Uncle Keith, got himself into a problem there, Marty, one morning when I was just in the middle of the night having my peanut butter habit in the kitchen, and my old big ass, hairy white ass is in the kitchen, naked, eating peanut butter, and Lauren comes out in the middle of the night going, "What the hell are you doing?" Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No, Marty, you're right. Because I'm like, yeah, what the hell am I doing right now? Like, how attractive is that for my wife? Yeah. So she's going to want to go and have sex with me. There's this big, hairy, fucking white ass in the kitchen with his head in the peanut butter jar, just digging into the peanut butter at 2:00 in the morning. And she's like, what? Really? I'm like, oh, yeah. Like, come on.
It's funny because I've met Lauren in real life, so I could just picture it, and I could picture your goofy ass.
Yes, exactly, Marty. Right. So, and Johnny, that's true story, man. I'm telling you, that's true story. So
that's hilarious.
That was an issue I used to have too, man. I used to eat in the middle of the night. That was one of the biggest. That was one of the hardest habits for me to break, and it was embarrassing, dude.
Yes, Johnny, thank you. I was never so embarrassed with my partner after that moment. I got up the next morning. I had a tough day that day because I was looking in the mirror, John. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing, man? Because I think my wife's the hottest thing on the planet. I put her on a pedestal. I love her. I just think she's gorgeous. She's an incredible human being. I'm attracted to her. And then I'm thinking, and you're looking at me, my big hairy ass in the peanut butter jar? Like, yeah, okay. Thanks for being patient with me. So, boys, I haven't done it since.
Good.
But sometimes you need that though. Like you need that embarrassment. You need that kick in the ass sometimes, you know?
I was embarrassed, Jon Andersen, I'll tell you.
Well, and the thing about it is what you really, what I love about the story is that you have a mate, you have a wife that loves you enough to be honest.
Yes. Well, the look she gave me, I will never. And then she turned around and went back to the bedroom. And I'm like, Marty, I was like, right. Because Marty, you know Lauren. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I'm not doing this again.
And she's like the complete opposite of that. So I know it just, I know that just rubbed her the wrong way.
Yeah. If I want some of that, I got to put some of this away. It's kind of what it was, right? So it's really how it came down to it. So, all right, mornings in the lab. Keith Bilous, CMarty Fit, Jon Andersen, and producer Flynn. We got AJ Zeglen hanging out in the green room. We're bringing up here in 2 minutes. We are going to move. Johnny's squirming. He's going to go for a pee break. Marty's going to do a stretch. We're going to put Christina in the green room for a few moments, and we're going to bring Zeglen on stage to get into our continuing discussion
discussion of from boys to men navigating the complexity of modern masculinity. Cam's hanging out. Cam is so eager to get into this conversation today. I know Cam has his Kleenex box ready to rock and roll, and we are going to.
It's about to be crazy.
Yes, I know it is. It's going to be a lot of fun here this morning in the lab. So, boys and girls, let's do it. Let's do this right now. All right. I like this part of the show. I don't know if Cam does. What's going on, Cam? Okay, where am I? Here we go. I know what keeps you up at night. It's not peanut butter. Because I'll tell you, I used to feel it too. That pressure to be a man, to hide those emotions, to never talk about them, to act like you have it all together. But here's what I know. Holding it in, it doesn't make you strong. It builds up that stress and resentment. It makes you feel alone. It wears you down. True strength, it comes from being open, gentlemen, and admitting when you're struggling, like I was with the peanut butter jar. Because you might be a man, but gentlemen, you're still a human. You think being vulnerable will make people question you. But the reality is, the opposite is true. It makes you a better leader. How do I know? Because I put the peanut butter jar away and I've done it. I've opened up. I've tuned into myself, and it's given everyone around me, including you, permission to do the same. Be vulnerable with someone today, Cam. Show them they're human. I know you're human, Cam. I know you got a big heart. I know you're here to have a lot of fun with us. Because if you're not going to be a human, what's left? There's the accountability check-in. Be a man. Be human. Show your vulnerabilities. Mornings in the lab. Myself, Keith Bilous, Jon Andersen, Mr. Zeglen. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm good. Good to have you here this morning. Marty's coming back here. I'm going to bring Christina on for a quick second here. Christina, AJ, Johnny. AJ, you were listening to the conversation there in the back, and I know you know me quite well in my peanut butter challenges. I saw you giggling there. Any comments on the old peanut butter situation with late night check-ins?
Well, you know what? I think what stood out to me is actually what Christina shared, and I have the same view on it. Is sometimes we get so focused on the result of it. You know, obviously we have a partner, we're aging with people, and you know, my wife Melissa, I've always told her, like, for me it's not about the end result of it, it's more about the process, it's more about the effort.
Yes.
Like, the thing that's attractive to me is the effort.
Yes.
When I'm 60 years old, of course I'm not going to look like exactly how I looked when we met when we were like 25, but the thing is that when she puts forth that effort consistently, time and time, I think that's such an attractive quality.
Sexy.
That, like, I actually think she looks better now than when we met.
Yes.
She'll probably argue with me, and she feels differently, you know, about how she views her own body and views herself. But for me, it's that effort. So it's like that process of like being with someone that is always trying to get better, and you know,
that's it.
Yeah, brother, that's such a good sign of a great relationship, because she's more beautiful to you now. Yeah. Even though as time goes on, we know that we deteriorate as human beings, but you see so much, you see more of her. You see the parts that really matter, which are not the physicalities. The effort is what you pay attention to. But the fact that she's more beautiful to you now, that's a beautiful statement, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
So who's AJ Zeglen? Nation, I'm going to quick little intro. Some of you have tuned in before and have met AJ in the past. I'm going to do a quick little round table with AJ. So AJ's from Manitoba, Canada here. He's a manager, strength coach, Focus Fitness. Focus is the home of the Winnipeg Jets, Manitoba Moose, our professional hockey teams up here in Manitoba. He's the owner of Invictus Performance Focus Psychotherapy. AJ is a big believer that if you want to succeed in the gym, if you want to succeed in life, if you want to succeed professionally, business guys, starts up in the skull. Yeah. You got to get your skull sorted out before you can get your biceps sorted out. Cam, he's a former world record holder Marty, do you know what it's actually? Let's lean. This is a fun one. Oh, yeah. Y'all know what AJ's a former world record holder in?
I'm dying to know.
I know y'all are. Mr. Marty's expression. Mr. Zeglen, what are you a former world record holder in?
It was actually a charity event, but it was the world record for the longest car push in 24 hours.
Yeah, the guy pushed mercy 24 hours.
Mercy. That's a long time to push a car, brother.
Yeah,
Man.
He had nothing else to do, John. He's like, yeah, let's go push a car for a day.
What kind of car was it?
It was actually, I don't think they make them anymore, but it wasn't a very big car. If you remember when Dodge made the Neon.
Yeah.
So it was the Dodge Neon. This was a little while back, but it was long story short, it was a charity fundraiser at one of the gyms I worked at. One of the gentlemen there who was a strongman, competed in strongman competitions, had befriended this little guy.
What's his name? I'm still in contact with a lot of the pros. What's his name? The strongman you're talking about.
His name was Rob Komet. And he was kind of like a strongman, more on the local scene, like just competing in like provincially, like in Manitoba and stuff. He was never a professional strongman, but good dude, big heart. And he had met this kid Jonathan through kind of like a Big Brother / Make-A-Wish type of program. He was battling with a rare form of childhood cancer, so they had gone through the Guinness Book of Worlds together and picked a record that they wanted to try to get and establish together. So that was the genesis for it all that kind of created it. And Rob was in need of a partner for the car push. So I was just kind of right place, right time. I volunteered my services and jumped in there with them and helped them get the record.
So did you just go like back and forth in a parking lot? Is that what you did?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. We have a local speedway out here in Manitoba, in Gimli, Manitoba. So it's an official quarter-mile track that's measured. So we actually just pushed around in the loop. But
I was going to say, how did you find flat ground for 24 hours? That was my first question.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever been to Manitoba, that's actually the easiest part, is finding flat ground. There's not much going on here as far as elevation, but yeah, because it's Guinness, it has to be like an official measured distance and track. They got some way to like standardize it. So it was done at a racetrack, just a lot of laps around the racetrack.
What's up, Tangerine? Tangerine joining us from Manila, Philippines here this morning. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Hey, listen, I've only said this once, and I'm going to get shit from Marty if I don't say it a few times here today. Subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Mornings in the Lab. Hit it. Just hit it. Comment on it, drop it, share it with your friends. Good, I checked it off the box there. And Marty, dude,
You didn't say like.
Oh yeah, I didn't say like. You gotta like. Our likes are down because I haven't been saying it enough. So like and channel this morning, you guys. And Marty, I gotta laugh with Cam here right now because Cam is actually dropping some funny shit here. So
he actually is.
It's AJ pushing Marty's shitty car in the parking lot because Marty's car broke down over the weekend, so Cam's wondering whether he was pushing Marty's car in the parking lot. And then dancing on the sun. A neon? Okay, change the subject. I was just thinking about the car and Jon Andersen and John fitting in a neon. I'd like to see that show of Jon Andersen getting into a neon and then him driving it. Because I just know John drives his G-Wagon and his nice cars there. I just can't see him, Marty, driving a Dodge Neon. I don't know.
You know, funny story about a Dodge Neon, right? So back when I'm in my like early 20s, like maybe 2021, all I was doing was working to be this big guy, right? And I was always trying to stuff myself in little clothes, little cars, little shoes, anything that I could do to make myself feel like I was big. So I almost bought a Dodge Neon because it was so little. So
okay, hold on. So were you buying the mini underwear too, Andersen?
I was buying mini everything, brother. I was shopping in the youth section.
You were doing everything to make yourself look bigger.
I mean, brother, let me tell you, when I made the decision, and I joke it's the sickness, because it was like I was doing, and it was coming down to every little element of my life I was doing to try to make myself feel big, look big, and I just manifested it. Everything right down to the little skivvies. Yes, you're correct.
That is exceptional. Jon Andersen. Hey, good morning, Real Deal. Good to have you here this morning. Big man in a little coat. Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm envisioning here. So, all right, team, let's keep the conversation rolling here. Let's get into the CMarty Fit Tip. And then we're going to jump into the big topic today, which is from Boys to Men, not the band, navigating the complexity of modern masculinity. And we are going to lean into the first one this morning, which is emotional vulnerability and expressing feelings. I know something that Cam likes to do every single day here on the show with us. He likes to express, and Cam brought his Kleenex this morning, Marty. So that's a good thing. So let's set aside for a quick minute, 90 seconds. Marty's going to jump in with a fit tip, and we're going to dig into emotional vulnerability and expressing feelings. Marty, it is your turn to get on stage and do this.
Let's get it. All right, we got the fit tip for today. Bicep curls are a classic, but are they the best move for getting jacked arms? Let's find out. Bicep curls are great for targeting your biceps and adding some definition, but they only work one part of your arm. If you want bigger, stronger arms, you need to mix it up. I'm sure Jon Andersen will agree with this, and AJ. Add compound movements, exercise like pull-ups, rows, bench press work not only your biceps, but your back and shoulders. These exercises use more muscles and help you get bigger and stronger. Don't forget about triceps. Your triceps make up a bigger part of your arm than your biceps do. To really build size, include push-ups, dips, triceps, and bench press, tricep extensions in your routine. So while bicep curls are good, you can't rely on them alone. Use different exercises to work all parts of your arms. Focus on the bigger muscles if you want bigger arms. That's how you build balanced, powerful arms. That's the fitness tip for today.
Nice. The fit tip of the day. Every single day dropping here around this time of the show. Something, gentlemen, to get your guys' day rolling, give you something to think about, and build some big muscles. All right. Keeping the conversation happening here this morning from Boys to Men, navigating the complexity of modern masculinity. We did a ton of research, boys, and we found 14 main insecurities that men face. Yesterday, we tackled 1 to 3. We dug into physical appearance and body image. We dug into career progress and financial stability. And we dug into sexual performance and endurance. Today, we're going to lean into emotional vulnerability and expressing feelings, relationship stability, authenticity, and living up to expectations. AJ, Marty, John, a 2023 study published in Psychology Today found that 55% of men feel uncomfortable expressing their emotions due to fear of judgment. And then Men's Health Forum in 2022 reported that 75% of men believe emotional vulnerability is viewed negatively by society. Who wants to start this one off here? Mr. Zeglen, I'm going to look at you, pal. What are your, is society teaching men to fear their own emotions? Men are conditioned to believe that showing emotions makes them weak. Men are told often to man up or keep it together. Lean into that, AJ Zeglen.
Right. Yeah. I think there's just, different perceptions that exist out there, and some probably served a purpose at some point, and some probably don't serve a purpose anymore. And I think part of it too is just kind of how we view stuff, and we have the potential to reframe things and kind of change the way that we perceive things. Right. I know one of the biggest aha kind of moments for me was simply that, when I looked at myself and like, okay, what's preventing me from being vulnerable, from sharing stuff? Well, exactly what you just mentioned there, fear of judgment, fear of what people are going to think of me. So then I think to myself, I'm like, okay, so I've somehow now convinced myself that I'm being strong by avoiding what I'm scared of. That's the opposite of strength, right? That's the opposite of courage, right? So if I really wanted to show that I was strong, if I really wanted to lean into my strength, if I really wanted to show courage, then I actually have to face what I'm scared of head on. So if I'm scared of being judged by people, if I'm scared of being vulnerable and speaking openly and communicating honestly with people, then that's what I have to do, right? That there's the strength, there's the courage, right? So, and I think we have the opportunity to reframe that, right? And just change our perception of it, instead of us being like, well, if I keep everything inside because I'm scared of what people are going to think of me, we somehow have this idea that that's somehow strength, when I think it's really the opposite of being strong.
Jon, I'm really curious about your response in this, because your career has been in very masculine industries, wrestling, bodybuilding, strongman. How did this mindset affect you, Jon Andersen, especially in the industries that you worked in? Let's lean into perhaps wrestling. Talk about being vulnerable, having the courage, and so forth. Jon Andersen.
Well, I mean, first off, I got to say that, I mean, I discovered earlier on that crying was strength, not weakness. You know, I make the joke, I'm a woman trapped in a man's body because I'm such a mama's boy, you know. And, you know, as I started my journey and I started to become comfortable with myself, I realized that, you know, crying and showing emotion is not a bad thing. It's just what is people's perception of it. So going back to your question, I don't remember what year it was. It was a long tour in Japan, and we were all tired, man. It was a tough tour. And Terry reaches out and tells me that one of our English bulldogs passed away.
Oh,
and
no.
It was brutal, man. We were just literally pulling up to the arena, and it was like, I mean, I was overwhelmed with emotion. I was tired. You know, we're talking 50, 60 dudes, you know, tour bus, wrestling tour, you know, and I just let it loose, man. I had no problem with letting it loose. And of course, everybody, once they saw the emotion, everybody came, hey, are you okay? What's going on? And I explained to them, and there was a couple people who were like, oh, dog died, da, 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 da. But it didn't make it as what they thought. It was how it affected me. And I had no problem letting it loose. You know, it wasn't like I was sobbing and kicking and screaming on the ground. I was just showing I was grieving because one of my dogs had passed away. And so what I'm getting at is the ones that love you, they're going to support you, you know, and that's all that matters.
What I find incredible about the story, Jon, is that we all as men don't want to cry, but the moment we cry in front of other men are like, oh, good, you're doing it. I want to come wrap my arms around you and love you and show some brotherly love. And it just leans back into that whole idea where it's like, no, well, you go first, Jon. AJ, you go first. You cry, you show emotion. No, I'm not going to do it. No, you do it, Marty. No, Keith, you do it. But then the moment that somebody does, it's like, okay, now that they've let their guard down, I can now lean into you too.
It shows how sheepish we are.
Yes.
You know, it's like they get in line real quick when, you know, people are insecure. As soon as nobody wants to be first.
No.
So if you got the courage to be first, you're going to find a line behind you.
Yes. I in good times commenting on exactly. Johnny, I didn't know you're an English Bulldog owner. Me too, man. I know those that have owned English Bulldogs know the effect they have on your life. Johnny Andersen, I was in Europe when my English Bully got sick. I cried all the way home. I got upgraded to the plane. I was like, my boy's dying. They put me on the airplane, got me home. So I can relate, dude. I can absolutely relate to those feelings. Adam's coming in with, I think you have to consider simply who you trust. Vulnerability is fine, but I think Jon nailed it, suggesting you share it with loved ones, right? And obviously, Jon, being on the road with, you know, loved ones as wrestlers in that moment, Jon, those are your loved ones, right? And you're like, I got to get it out there, right, Johnny?
Well, I'll be honest. Some of them were loved ones, but let me tell you, there's a lot of egos in on these
Yes.
tours, you know. But I mean, it's a filter.
Yes.
You know, let your shit hang out, and you're going to find out who loves you.
Yes. Marty, lean into this, man. You played basketball. You've been on athletic teams. You've been around masculinity your whole career, Marty. So, you know, let's lean into, you know, manning up or keeping it together, and you know, showing weakness or showing vulnerability. Christopher Martin.
Yeah, sports is a little different. You kind of can't wear your emotions just because you don't want to let the opponent know, you know, if you're frustrated or you having a bad night. But I will say that, you know, it pays off to be a good person and be a likable person, because now your team is like your brotherhood. And within that brotherhood is certain, like, I don't want to say cliques, but, you know, I guess subgroups. So like when I was a freshman, the freshmen hung out with each other, and now I can converse with the freshman guys or the sophomore guys and the underclassmen, the upperclassmen. I can relate to these guys and I can open up to them. And some of them are, my best friends till this day, and that's the case,
Yeah.
When I'm going through stuff, that's who I call. When they going through stuff, they call me. And I'm pretty much, AJ knows and Jon knows as a fitness professional, our clients do that as well. So, and that's the biggest sign of trust. So they trust me, and the people I do it with, I trust them as well. But I think that outlet is healthy to have, and you got to let it out. You can't bottle it up. And you might not have to let it out to everybody, but even if it's one person, or even if it's just writing it in a journal, let it out. It's healthy.
Yes.
Am I muted here? There I go. I mean, how many times when I would be on one of these wrestling tours and there was no bad news, man, I just needed to get some shit out, man. I used to call it the silent scream. Not that it was a bad thing. Don't take that scream as a bad thing. It was just, I would sit at the end of the bed and I missed my family. I was tired. I was banged up. It's like, what, if I just pull the cork out and let this shit come out, and sometimes it'd be vocal, sometimes it wouldn't, but it felt good. And it was like, I was ready to go once it was out.
Yeah. AJ, you work with athletes, you work with regular human beings, regular dudes, mental health, depression, emotional vulnerabilities. AJ, emotional suppression is destroying men's relationships.
Right.
Avoiding vulnerability is damaging men's connections with others. Talk a bit about emotional suppression and some of the clients you work with and some of the things you've seen, not only in pro sport, in the gym, but with your clients. But talk about how emotional suppression is destroying men's relationships and how we can make changes to that. AJ Zeglen.
Yeah, I think just when we suppress like that, then we can't communicate openly and honestly, right? And that's really the foundation of any successful relationship is communication, right? So if I have to suppress myself all the time and I'm not able to, I'm not able to be, I lose some of my integrity. I lose some of my word, right? Like what's my word worth now if it's not spoken honestly? And if I can't communicate with you openly and honestly, what does that do to the kind of what type of foundation is our relationship built on, right? And so that suppression can really kind of, erode the foundation of the relationship. And I think, the thing is that I think as men, we recognize that this exists. And I do believe that, most people are good people and we want to help each other. And so I look at the four of us in this room and we have all probably chosen career paths that have an aspect of helping other people and helping them improve and giving them the ability to do that. And, what allows us to do that effectively, what allows men to have positive effect on other men's lives is if we are willing to go there ourselves, right? How are we going to take someone somewhere that we're not willing to go ourselves? How am I going to help you do something if I'm not willing to do it myself?
Yes.
I don't have the courage to do it myself. It's going to be very tough, right? And Jon mentioned this before too, earlier. People are much more likely to believe what you do than what you say. If I sit up here and I tell people, hey, you got to be vulnerable, talk about stuff. It's okay. But I never do it myself. Everyone's going to know that I'm full of shit. Right. And secretly for myself inside, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm kind of full of shit here. I'm not doing what I say right now. If you do that, if you follow that up, and even if you don't say it, but if you just do it, that's in your regular practice, people are more likely to believe you and follow that. Right. So you got to be willing to go where, to do that hard stuff, to be able to help other people and show them that it's okay to do it. And like I said, by suppressing it, you're just kicking that down the road and you're going to have to deal with it at some time. But it really, goes against, the kind of fundamental elements of communication, right? And honesty, being able to speak openly and honestly with each other. And that's going to have some type of negative effect on the relationships that you have.
Marty, do you think it's possible to shift society's views on male vulnerability? You're in that demographic that's coming up and looking at it right now, or are we stuck with these outdated beliefs, or is it changing? Marty, what's your point of view on this?
That's a tough one.
I was thinking the same thing, brother.
I mean, at this point, with the direction it's going in, I don't think so. But I think there needs to continue to be spaces like this where men can open up, and we can talk about things that we can relate to. But as far as society, I don't think it's changing. I don't think it's possible at this point with the way the world is going right now.
I think it's getting worse, man. I think we're becoming more zombified by social media, and I'll tell you, one of the things that I do now in my 50s is the people that are important to me, I tell them I love them, and I'm not doing it. I don't want a response. If they want to say it back, good. I don't say it because I'm soliciting a response. I say it because I don't know how many chances I'm going to have left to say it, man. And the bottom line is I would rather say too much in terms of my affection for someone than not enough.
Yes. Well, Jon and Marty, you guys, AJ, you all know me well enough. It's not uncommon for me to reach out and just express myself to you guys, because I think we got to do that more often. And I do it for you guys to show you that if I do it for you, I'm hoping that maybe Marty, you're reaching out to a buddy of yours, and you're thinking, well, hell, man, hey, AJ, Keith's sharing his love with me. I'm going to go and do it with somebody else, right? And and I think if I can teach that, that's a good thing to do, right? Is continue to express emotions and feelings, and I think you guys are both right. We're certainly living in a world of 50-50, it seems like, right? There's either over there and over there, right? And I'm proud, frankly, gentlemen, of what we're building over here, which is inviting men to come to a safe space and have conversations like this. Bring your Kleenex box. Johnny, I'm right there next to you, crying with your mom, my mom. You're like, I'm right there, right? There's times I'm on the show with guests and I'm like trying to hold back my tears. I'm like, okay. And I'm just, hey, guests.
Oh, no, bro, this is beautiful.
I know.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
When we're telling these stories and I'm like thinking about my dog died, right?
Yes.
I got the chin started moving.
Yes.
I just about choked up some tears on the show, and I wouldn't avoid it. It just, there wasn't enough squiggle in the chin to give me some moisture.
Yeah, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. Oh, we got Luke Schmidt joining us this morning. Luke, good morning, man. Good to have you in here, pal. I appreciate you, Luke. This morning. Luke's going to join us on the show coming up in a couple weeks or so. He's like, hey, dude, I tune into you guys. I like your show. He's like, I love the dynamic happening on the show right now. And, Luke, so do we. And he's got, without vulnerability, trust and meaningful connections go away. And it's funny, guys, because a lot of this stuff is so common sense and so cliche, yet we just don't act on it, AJ? We just go through our day, our heads go down, we get into the peanut butter jar in the middle of the night, we wonder why our wife's not having sex with us. Or we're not telling our friends we love them, and we just wake up, we go, wait a minute, I'm old and I'm fat. No, man, slow down, tell your friends you love them, go act on the morning wood, just slow down, gentlemen, right? That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the problem with perspective sometimes is we don't have it immediately in the moment when we feel we need it. And, but, I'm not sure if it's going to change, or I'm not sure how it changes. I know what we're doing right now doesn't hurt it.
Yes.
And I know when I was, I could go back 10 or 15 or 20 years. I know I probably would have never heard this conversation happening, So I'm not really sure, where that takes us and if that means that we are getting better. But yeah, I know. I don't know. I obviously think it's extremely important. So I'll just talk about it and try to walk the walk on it. And hopefully, if anything, it has some sort of positive influence on the people that I care about, my friends, my family, my son, and if that makes him a better person and makes him a better partner one day and makes him a better dad one day, then I feel, it was worth it. I've done some good.
Well, AJ, I'm glad you talked about your son. I have kids. Johnny's got kids, and Marty's going to be on his way to making kids here in the future. And I want to come back and talk about this. But Johnny, you ready to lean in with a lifestyle tip here in a second, here, pal?
Let's go, baby.
All right, so we're going to lean into a lifestyle tip. We're going to come back and we're going to have a couple moments around leaning into kids and how we're teaching our kids, how we're teaching our boys to be vulnerable and share emotions and feelings. Then we're going to come back with the creator spotlight and then keep the conversation happening here. So you're at Mornings in the Lab with Keith Bilous, CMarty Fit, Jon Andersen, special guest AJ Zeglen, and of course, producer Flynn and producer Jimmy in the back room. They're helping us make this show come to life. So right now, I am going to put this on. Yeah, I still got to get the right song for Jon.
You got to give him a better song.
I can't believe that's my entering music right there. You know,
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Entry music. Yes, that's exactly it.
Well, a funny story in the entry music. My first tour ever in Japan, they had me walking into Macho Man. Yeah.
Marty. Yes, Marty. I know what you're thinking right now.
Go ahead, Jon. Go ahead.
All right, here is our lifestyle tip for the day. We know that every day is crucial. We want to have a good day. So we crush the morning, we own the day. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to basically plan 3 easy wins for tomorrow morning. Maybe your easy win is getting up and drinking a big glass of water. That's going to help you wake up and hydrate. Maybe you're going to lay out your clothes. Maybe you're going to get the coffee, make it ready to go. Those are 3 of my easy wins. I wake up, boom, hit my 3 easy wins. I'm already feeling good for the day. The momentum is up, and it makes it that much easier to tackle the bigger, more difficult challenges because I'm already in the mode of winning. So remember, tomorrow's success is planned today.
Oh, I like that. Tomorrow's success is planned today. Before you go to bed, guys, get those easy wins in the bank. You get up your days. Your day's already rolling.
That's it.
I use some of that same mentality. Before we even sat down in the lab here this morning, Jon, I got some stuff done in the gym, and I got activity in the bank is how I call it, right? Like my day's already underway, and I got a bunch of calories stacked in the bank that I'm already in a deficit. I feel good about myself. It's just getting ahead of everything, right? So, and Cam, yes, it's cliche, but it works. And Cam, I know that you got yourself prepared last night to be on the show this morning, Cam. So don't tell me you're not paying attention to all this. So, I know. This is awesome, boys. This makes everything worth it, which is this right here, which is Good Time just said, I just wanted to say thank you. I get up earlier thanks to you guys. And you know what? That is awesome, man. That's, I sat down with our creator spotlight yesterday. Daniel Hall had coffee with them yesterday, boys. And he's like, Keith, anytime somebody takes 15 minutes, a half an hour, and an hour out of their day, Jon, Marty, AJ, out of their time to spend it with you, just pause and think about that for a second, because they didn't have to spend that time with you. And he invited me to think about that from the sense of gratitude. And I was like, wow, that's really an interesting way to think about it. Because like, Keith, I wanted to spend an hour with you. You asked to meet with me. I looked into who you were. I wanted to come spend time with you. And that was, so I say that to you because Good Time is making a choice to want to spend time with us. And Marty, you and I have talked about it. What a wonderful feeling it is, isn't it?
It's a great feeling. And Good Time has been on my podcast a couple of times. He's been tapping into my content as well. So I appreciate you, Good Time.
You know the interesting thing about Marty's podcast?
Yeah.
Is I still haven't gotten the damn invitation.
Yeah.
He's big leaguing me, man. I'm not big time enough for his shit.
Jon, you're going to be on there, man.
I'm just playing,
I'm just going to be on there, man.
I
got a schedule, man. I got you.
AJ's wondering the same thing. He's like, when am I going to be on the show too?
Oh, now everybody's giving me crap about it. I'll get you guys on there.
He's big leaguing us, AJ. You know, he's big time.
That's it. And no, Good Time. We know you're not a troll. I know the first show you showed up, I thought you were, and Jimmy kicked you out of the lab. But you have been an awesome guest. And anybody who's a creator out there who does this for a living, and people decide to tune into your content. I'm repeating myself, but I can't just tell you how great it feels. So thank you. That's very, very much appreciated. But gents, we were talking here today about being boys to men, modern day masculinity. I want to just, before we continue our conversation and get into the creator spotlight, and then we're going to get into the next topic around relationship stability and authenticity. I want to come back to parenting and how we're teaching our children. I got a boy and a girl. AJ, you got a boy and a girl. Johnny, you got a bunch of girls. Marty's going to be making some kids in the future.
practicing right now. He's just practicing.
Totally practicing right now. Yeah.
Hey, you can't play in the game if you don't practice.
He's the one that we're all just vicariously living our thoughts through. He's the one over there telling us the stories off the show. But boys, how are you? I'm going to start with you, Johnny. You got the 3 girls, and again, then we actually think girls share feelings. But how have you, as a dad, a self-admitted mother's boy, how have you talked to girls about feelings and ensuring they're sharing feelings and ensuring that they're vulnerable? Let's talk about that for a few moments, Johnny, about parenting our kids.
Well, what I did with my girls is from the time that they could communicate, I just talked with them about everything.
Yeah.
If anything, they're probably, over communicators. It really didn't serve them well until they became young adults, because at teenage level, nobody understood why they always wanted to talk about everything. They're always talking about, this made me feel a certain way, and I know that you're doing it. There are people, 16-year-olds, like, what is wrong with this kid? What is wrong with her? But as they got older, it became young adults. It serves them very well. But I also taught them, I was really, really big with them about, do not be a victim with your feelings, because, there's too many people running around. And it's like, oh my God, I feel this way. Well, flip the script, man. You can feel this way and you can turn it into a positive. And so a lot of times, this is one of the things that I really, really big on, is that your feeling is a powerful thing, and you could choose to let your feelings help you or hurt you. It's your choice.
Yeah. I like that. AJ Zeglen, how are you parenting the kids with feelings and emotions, and especially, with your profession, right? You talk to people all the time about emotions and how they're feeling inside their head. AJ, how are you talking to your kids about this?
Yeah, a big part of it is just building off what John just said right there with the feelings. Is I always like to, when I'm working with my clients and I'm talking with my son, Boston, it's like the idea that you are not your feelings. Right? Your feelings are something that you're experiencing. It's something that happens to you. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling emotional, if you're feeling, these feelings that, have some sort of like negative connotation towards them, where you're worried about like, oh, if I feel this means I'm weak. This means I'm this means I'm not a man. This means I'm not, it's like, no, that you're not your feelings. You've experienced this feeling, and now let's talk about, why you've experienced it or why it makes you feel that way. And then how do we regulate it? How do we work through it? Exactly what John said. Is that feeling going to be something that is negative and brings you down and gets you caught in this negative loop? Or is it going to be something that we're able to regulate, manage, control, and we're able to perform at our best, whether that's in a relationship or in a sport or in school or at our job or anything like that. I know CMarty Fit was talking before about athletics and how it's kind of like this different world and how it can be tough, right? And even in the world of sports, it's not that we don't feel. You talk to any athlete in the world, if they told you that they were never scared, if they were never nervous, if they were never anxious, if they never felt guilt or shame, or if they were never questioned their abilities, they'd be lying to you, right? It's not that you don't feel those emotions, right? You feel them, but you just learn how to regulate them and work through them. So the idea or the goal is never not to feel anything. And we don't want to create a bunch of robots where we just don't feel anything, no emotion, no feelings, we're just cold. It's to be aware what we're feeling, why we think they might be feeling it, and then how do we regulate it? So how do we keep moving forward? Because we got goals, we got stuff we're trying to accomplish, we got a person that we're trying to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. That's so good, because one of the things I always remind myself, and I haven't taught my girls, is look, you're going to experience anxiety and you're going to experience excitement, and sometimes you're not going to be able to tell them apart. So you got to identify what's going on. So I love that you're talking about figure out what's going on, what are you feeling, and how do you turn it into a positive?
Yeah. Marty, as you were growing up and being parented, were you encouraged to lean into your feelings and talk about these type of things, Marty, or have you had to discover this yourself and lean into some of these emotions and educate yourself on all this? And then the second part to that is, I'm going to make an assumption, because as I've gotten to know you, you are an emotional dude. You are emotionally mature and have an emotional IQ about you. I'm only going to assume you're going to lean into this considerably with your children as you raise them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just for me, I wasn't encouraged to, express myself. And if I did, I never was, nobody really cared.
Yeah.
So then you kind of grow up with a shell.
Yeah.
And you think you're not supposed to. But then, as you mature, you become a man, and you gotta fix things. You got relationships, you got teammates, you got coaches, you got clients. So now I need to be able to communicate effectively, and so that's kind of how I was able to become emotionally mature. And then we talked about John was saying let the yell out. Mine wasn't a yell. Mine would be I might have been holding something in for a year, and then I get upset. And now I'm expressing everything to you when I didn't know how to communicate effectively. So that's kind of how I grew into it and matured.
But Marty, was there a defining moment in your life, whether with somebody or with your own self in your own space, where where there's a turning point, a watershed moment where it's like, okay, boom, I need to deal with this?
I mean, I could bring up multiple times, but I'd probably say the first one was basketball. Yeah, that was where I might be frustrated off the court because of things on the court, but I can't show up. I can't show up every day and express that to my coach because he doesn't care. So when I had my friends, my circle, that subgroup, that's when I was able to learn how to open up with them, or maybe like a girlfriend or something like that. Learn how to open up with them. Receive the criticism and just feel loved back.
Yes. Yeah. Receive the criticism and be open to it, right? And not beat yourself up about it. Take it in.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You're hanging out with Keith Bilous, CMarty Fit, Jon Andersen, and our guest AJ Zeglen. This morning we're getting into from boys to tune into our creator spotlight now, and then continue the show and get into our next topic around relationship stability and authenticity. But now I want to pivot our conversation to do some celebrating. Every day on the show, we like to celebrate somebody who's doing great work right now we're just leaning into the LinkedIn platform. And this week we've been just talking a lot about fakery and stuff that's not real and stuff that's messing with our heads around FOMO in the world of social media. And yesterday we had a guy named Daniel Hall on the show who's shining light on people that are doing things that are goofy and perhaps not legit. And today we are, Cam, it's not you, and we are going to continue our creator celebration today with a CEO, a co-founder of a marketplace that's helping businesses find the best B2B creators through AI. This person puts out really consistent and interesting content, focusing on his expertise of creators. He's particularly great at bringing light to a widespread problem across the industry, and that problem being fake accounts, fake engagement, fake influencers, inflated numbers, which I personally get really excited about because it feels like it really brings my two worlds coming together, right? My last business, social media moderating company, monitoring company, community management company, and then this business that we're building here, which is real, authentic conversations, right? That help you grow as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, CEO, and creator. And as we're growing it, been talking to Marty about this ad nauseum, it's like, yeah, we're competing with all these fake folks. He's like, yeah, I know, it's crazy, man. All these fake folks that are, all these inflated numbers that aren't real. So we found this person on the platform and said, hey, let's go shine a light on this guy, do some great work. So today's creator spotlight, he's a creator, he's a judge, he finds the best creators for your brand with AI powered precision. Today's creator spotlight from Mornings in the Lab is Marty, drum roll please. There we go. It is going to be Jeremy Boissoneau. Jeremy is from Cannes, France. He is the creator judge from Favicon. He helps find the best creators for your brand with AI-powered precision. He's on a mission to put quality creators in the spotlight. But gents, what drew my attention to Jeremy is something he published yesterday, which we all need to know about, frankly. And we're going to talk about this in the coming days and weeks here in the lab to help educating and continue to educate our audience, which is this whole idea. No Max Raider, not pre-recorded. This is live mornings in the lab. Jeremy published an article yesterday around finally the FTC is cracking down on influencers and brands that buy fake followers. A big step forward for the creator economy. It's about time something was done. This is happening in October. LinkedIn, Instagram, X, every platform nation is full of fakeness, fake influencers, fake creators. And what Jeremy's shining a light on is that in the coming months, we're going to start seeing some changes to this to hopefully level the playing field. So he published something here yesterday, which I invite you to go check out on his profile, which shows you how to spot a fake influencer. Why is it important? Because if you're going to look to spend some money with somebody as an advertiser or a sponsor, you want to know if it's real. And we're just pulling it out there because as we look to continue to build our business and look and talk to sponsors and advertisers and partners with us, we want to give you real numbers, real facts, real engagement numbers. And it all starts with reality and being transparent. So I would invite you to second guess every number you see across every creator you engage with and ask yourself whether it's real. Look in the comments, look in the shares before you get your mental health all messed up with something that is perhaps not real at all. So today's creator spotlight, Jeremy Boissoneau from Favicon is today's creator spotlights. All right, boys. I'm telling you, man, that topic's going to be, we're going to talk about it here in the coming weeks and months because, you know, I'm not going to spend much more time on it right now, but just one quick last minute. As we go out there to market to build the business around this, guys, I want to make sure we have a level playing field, right? I don't want to be standing up against somebody who says, yeah, I got 70,000 downloads of what? My podcast. Oh, yeah? How many people listen to it? I don't know. Really?
Well, here's the one thing that just to kind of a little tip for our listeners. You know, when you go to some sort of a social media and you're listening to someone, if they're saying stuff that's lighting you up, that's giving you a different perspective, that's giving some value to you, like in a very noticeable way, there's a good chance that everything is on par. But when you show up to an account that's massive and it's just a bunch of garbage, well, then you clearly realize that nobody's showing up there for any value. It's most likely engineered.
Yes. All right, boys, relationship stability and authenticity. Continuing our conversation. Marty, a 2022 study in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that 60% of men, AJ, reported anxiety about their relationship due to fears of inadequacy or failure. And then in 2023, Men's Health found that 35% of men regularly worry whether their partner is genuinely affectionate or staying out of convenience. There's guys listening to this show right now that are wondering, does she love me? Or is she here because it's just convenient and it takes too much work to undo it all? Fear of inadequacy, gentlemen, is undermining men's relationships. Anxiety about not being good enough drive many men to question their worth. John, I'm going to start with you, pal, because we're the old guys on the panel. And I'm going to lean in back to after you, but leading into instability, right? Men often fear they're not meeting the expectations in the relationships, right? And I think, John, it happens even more as we go through relationships longer with our partners. Right? Guys maybe get insecure and they're wondering why isn't their wife touching them or why is their wife not doing anything with them? Let's talk a little bit about this, John, around. Oh,
man. I'm there.
Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough in your relationships, and have you experienced this type of self-sabotage?
Well, number one, yes. I mean, everybody has. And if they say they haven't, they're lying.
Agreed.
But the thing that I realized, and it took me a while. I mean, at 52, I didn't discover this probably somewhere in my mid 40s. And it comes down to this. I have the ability, based on my behavior, the things I say, the things I do, to create, I can give my wife the things that she needs that's going to keep her happy. If I don't give her the shit she needs to be happy, well, of course I'm going to feel inadequate. I'm not doing my job. So I think this whole thing, I think people that are feeling this way, the first step is to turn the mirror on yourself and ask yourself, am I doing the things that will make her happy? Am I doing the things that are going to keep her feeling romance? Am I doing the little subtle things? Am I pinching her butt when I walk by? Am I just, giving her a kiss out of nowhere? Am I sending her that text telling her how special she is? Because when you do the things that you should be doing to nurture a loving relationship, you're going to get away from all this. You're always going to, there's always going to be some feelings of anxiety and inadequacy, but you're going to manage this stuff. But most importantly, you're going to see her behavior change, which is then going to allow the whole thing to continue to get better and better. And this is where it comes down to, if you have progress in your relationship, the odds are these feelings are going to be minimized.
Yeah, Johnny, I've gone through, my relationship with Lauren here over the last 8 years, where I've beat myself up from time to time, wondering, am I good enough for her, or what am I contributing to this thing? What's the reason she's sticking around? And I know Lauren loves me to pieces, everything inside and outside, but still sometimes you get in your own head and you beat yourself up, and you wonder, like, is she here because she really loves me, or is she here because it's just convenient? And I'm not trying to, question my wife right now publicly, but those are things that I've dealt with. AJ, I saw you nodding there as I was acknowledging that, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what both you guys are saying. And like, I feel like this is my first time ever meeting Jon today, but how he just described that, I feel like we've had conversations about this before, because as part of my practice in my therapy business, I do work with couples, and I feel like, Jon, the advice you just gave there hit the nail right on the head. Like, that's what it's about, right? A lot of time when we're looking at our own confidence and whatever it is, but in this case, within a relationship, our confidence usually starts to come into question when we start comparing outside of ourselves, and when we start looking at things that we have no control over, right? So, if I'm, and this applies to anything, right? If I'm an athlete playing a sport and I'm just looking at someone else's skill set, that's the time when my confidence is negatively affected, right? I'm like, wow, look at what that person can do, right? If I'm in a relationship and I start looking at what someone else is doing, or I'm scrolling through social media, I'm like, oh, look at this guy. I thought I was in good shape. This guy has an 8-pack right now walking around. That's my confidence just dipped. That's probably what my wife would be more attracted to than me, or whatever, right? We start worrying about all these things that are, that's them. That's, so when we bring our attention back to ourselves, we worry about the things that are within our control, that we have direct influence over. And we worry about what Jon said. We look in the mirror and we put that effort into, okay, well, I want to turn myself into the best partner that I can be. Like, what would I want in a partner? How good of a person would I want to be? That's who I have to be. Right.
It's hard, isn't it, AJ? Especially to do it every single day over and over, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's the concept, the idea behind it sounds simple. Like most, simple things, they can be difficult and challenging, because the magic of it, we'll say, is in the consistency, right? Which isn't magic at all, right? But it's just doing it every day. But if I want to be, if I want to be a good partner, if I want my wife to listen attentively when I speak and ask me questions and be engaged in what I'm interested in, if I want her to, take care of herself, and put time and effort into her self-care, physically, emotionally, mentally, if I want her to show me physical affection, if I want her to show those things, then I have to do those things.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I have to do those things. So that's something that's within my control, right? Jon said, look in the mirror. So, okay, well, I can go to the gym. I can work out. I can have conversations like this with people where I'm talking about my emotional and mental well-being. I can show her physical affection. When she's talking, I better be actively listening and showing genuine engagement and interest in what she's saying, right? And if you do those things, which you have direct control over every single day of your life, like Jon said, all of a sudden, that influences the whole relationship. And all of a sudden, that partner that you want, that you're hoping for, that attention that you're seeking from your partner, you start to get it not because you sat around and waited for it or wished for it to happen, but because you became that person yourself, right?
Yes.
Real quick, like in a micro version of this is something a lot of times, my wife's not a morning person. So she wakes up and she's kind of getting her way about her. And when I notice, if I'm certain that she's kind of having a rough morning, call it a bad mood, call it what you will, I realize I have the ability to affect that. I can go and do something to make her feel special. I can go do something. And it's A, for the relationship, it's B, for her, and it's C, for me. I'm much happier when she's happy. So I take the initiative. She's struggling. She doesn't even know in many cases. I'm going to go take care of some business.
Well, John, that's how we started the show off, with self-sabotage, right? So she's getting up in the morning and she's maybe not feeling it for whatever reason. Who cares, frankly? But you as her partner are recognizing that maybe she needs a little bit of an emotional nudge or support from her partner, her lover. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to give her what she doesn't know she needs right now.
Yes. And you know how easy it is easy it is to do that, but it's even easier, and don't get caught by, you're having a bad morning, aren't you? All I did was throw some gasoline on the fire, man.
Yes.
No, I want to be distinguishing that fire. And it's about identifying what's going on, realizing you have control based upon your actions.
Yes.
And you can really, when you take that action to make things better, then the anxiety is managed.
Yes. Marty, my single friend here on the panel here, you're leaning into this and listening to this, relationship stability, being authentic. You talk to your buddies and stuff, men often fear that their partner's affection isn't genuine. As you've been dating girls and going through your life, do you find as you get into a relationship with girls, you question their genuine feelings, or do you put yourself all in and you get into love language conversation with somebody? You said yesterday, where you're like, yeah, you just let it all out there. Here's who I am. I'm old school, right? Is that the approach you often take and allow it to happen naturally? Or let's lean into this a little bit, Marty.
Well, I kind of had to grow into that approach because people, I don't want to say people change, but things come out as the relationship goes on. Yes. And, I've been in situations where I was clearly the placeholder boyfriend. I wasn't the one, that she actually liked, So you got to be able to pick up on stuff like that. And in order to avoid it, that's what I was saying. I just communicate right up front and just let them know who I am, what I'm looking for, what to expect, and I'm willing to adapt or willing to change anything that needs to be changed, willing to cater to your needs, and just let them know I expect the same in return. But I think that's just part of being a man or a woman. Sometimes you're just going to have those thoughts. This person doesn't like me. We're human. It happens.
Yes. I need to acknowledge this. We got our friend Enzo, the number one supporter on the show. AJ, Enzo's still here, man. The future still exists, and Enzo still joins us here. Yeah. That's I appreciate that. He's been off camping and tramping and doing some great stuff off the grid there. So Enzo, I just checked into the feed here and love having you on the show, man.
Yes, sir.
We got the boy here on the show every single day. Adam's yes, Adam. I will. Adam, I appreciate you, brother. I will wait for the segue and roll that into the show here in a few moments. Boys, we're talking about being real with our wives and relationship stability. Give her a couple things to think about. Johnny, looking at you here, a sign your wife isn't feeling you anymore. She doesn't want to spend time together with you. And AJ, John, we're married here. To change that is, let's show interest in wanting to spend time with our wife, right?
Well, here's the thing: a wife, friend, whatever. Yeah. If a person doesn't want to spend time with you, then you're doing something that's pushing them away. Good night. This is pretty simple. Unfortunately, most people live in this world of victim. Oh my God, she doesn't like me anymore. She doesn't like you because you're acting like a dipshit. So clean yourself up. Look in the mirror. What are you not doing? Or what are you doing? Get rid of the negative shit, bring some positive stuff in. Whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, hell, even your pet, you're going to have better results.
Yeah. It's funny, gentlemen, how we as men always want to blame the other half, eh? And John and AJ, and I love you guys because you guys are bringing it back to our own mirror. And I've had to learn that myself through my journey in life, Johnny, going through divorce and so forth. I've had to learn to lean into my own mirror. No, it's me first. And then I figure out what's me first. And then once I recognize it's me first, I then feel like I can have the permission to have the conversation with my partner if she's not meeting, I don't want to use the word expectations, or not meeting what I'm hoping to get out of a situation, right? But I got to take care of me first before I go sit down and say, well, you, right, AJ?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think what we said before, there's a few things there. Obviously, I think we lead by example, right? Or people lead by example. People are more likely to believe us if they see what we're doing. So if we're going to have that conversation with our partner, with our significant other, and be like, hey, these are the things that I feel, if we're not doing those things ourselves and we're not showing that we also do them, the likelihood that they even believe us or believe that it's important to us is going to be drastically reduced, right? Because they're going to be like, well, is it really important to you? Because you never do it, right? You're saying you want me to do these things, but you seem to avoid doing them all the time, right? So it's, I think it's, again, it just goes back to that ability to communicate with each other, and just, that confidence in yourself and in the relationship is going to come from your experiences, right? Your experience is formed by your actions, your daily habits, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you do on a regular basis? If you identify, this is the type of partner that I want to be, this is the type of person I want to be, this type of relationship I want to have, and then you're like, hey, well, what does that look like?
Yeah.
I said I want to be in a good relationship. I want to be a good partner. I want to have this type of partner. What does that look like? Okay, well, I think it looks like this and this and this and this. Good. You just built your own list. Go out there and do that stuff every single day. And when you do that, you're creating your own experience. That's where you get your confidence from. And you now have undeniable proof that you are who you say you are.
It's exceptional that you're talking about it that way, AJ, because you're talking about it in a very clinical way, which I appreciate, because you're sitting down with, me and John as partners with our spouses, and you're saying, okay, Keith, identify what you want out of a relationship. Write it down. Okay, go do it. What do you mean go do it? That's very clinical, AJ. Well, no, but you told me what you wanted. Like, why wouldn't you do it? And that's really, I hate to sound cliche and simple, but guys, we get so caught up in making every excuse why not to make it happen.
Right.
Our coach here is just saying, well, no, write it down and make it happen. And John would say, make it a list of habits and make it happen. If you want your wife to want to have sex with you, boys, we all want to have sex. We all do. Take care of yourself first. Stay out of the Stay out of the Big Mac. Get out of the fucking bed. Don't hit your snooze button. Go to the gym. Show your wife you're caring about yourself first. Show your wife that you don't gotta have the 6-pack abs. Show your wife the effort before you can expect the effort from her. Honestly, right? It's actually quite simple.
Yeah, and the whole I love, AJ, what you said about how do you. It's your daily rhythm that basically creates this confidence, and the dumbest little things. Like, here's a perfect example. Every morning, somewhere about 3:30, I actually have an alarm goes off just to make sure I don't miss my cue. I text my mom, I text my wife, and I text my 3 daughters, and I tell them I love them, so they all wake up to something from me. And I don't do it for a response. And I tell them, you don't have to respond. This is not about a response. I'm doing this because I want you to know I'm here. I want you to know I'm thinking about you. I want you to know I want you to have a great day.
You know what, Johnny? You just said something, and I'm feeling like fucking schmuck right now. And I'm telling you, I learned something I know Marty and I joke because I learn something from you all the time. And I can tell Business Athlete Nation, starting today / tomorrow, my mom and my daughter are getting a note from me every single morning. Because why wouldn't they? And why can't they? Because I got this fucking thing on my desk.
Don't forget about your lady. Don't forget about Lauren. You said mom and your daughter. Where's your queen?
Well, my queen gets something from me every single morning, Johnny.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're doing what you need to do to support your morning wood. Good job.
I love my wife. She knows my wife knows I love my wife. So I like to take care of my emotion towards my wife, but I don't do the best job with my daughter and my mother. And I'm going to, so I've learned on my journey to make statements here on the microphone in front of the camera because it helps me be accountable. So nation, I'm just stating it out here right now publicly. Mom, Piper, get used to dad knocking on your door every single day because dad's sending you some love. Marty.
No, I love that. I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't have a daughter yet.
Yeah.
Or a lady, but I can do that with
mom.
I can do that with my mom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Well, boys, we're starting to wrap it up. I'm going to bring in Christina Flynn here. She's been hanging out in the green room for us here. And I want to, before we wrap up the show here, Adam has popped in here with a good old Adam, buddy. I got the segue here. But Johnny, Marty, I think he's looking at you. I'm in my 3rd week into my workout regimen, and I have a particular fitness question. I'm noticing particular weakness in my left arm. And I can touch hands behind my back, one side. Other side is a 6 centimeter difference.
Wow.
Dude. Johnny, Marty, AJ, any comments on Adam? Any diagnosing on the morning show here this morning?
Well, in that case, the first thing that I would say is we want to find out if there's any damage that we need to know about before we create a plan to get that thing back in action. Is there some sort of a nerve issue? Is it just a flexibility issue? We don't know. So find out what that is, and once we understand that we can create, an action for you or an action plan that's going to make it better, we'll be happy to help you.
Yeah. The only advice I would give you, Adam, is you're going to have to jerk off with your right arm tomorrow. So I'm sorry.
Nothing wrong with working on being ambidextrous.
That's exactly it. Switch hitter. Tina, thank you for joining us to close the show off here this morning.
Thank you for welcoming me with the jerk off joke. It's always the best.
I just needed a reason to press the button here. So Tina, we wrapped up the show. What did you think of the show today? Just I think we had a great chat about vulnerability, feelings, emotional stuff here. Closing comments from you in the green room about some of the things you heard here today on the show, Christina.
Listen, these conversations aren't happening with this group of people. And I think we've talked about this before. That's the driving force of this show. That's why we've decided to niche down to focus on men, because we believe that the people in this room and the guests that we bring on through our network are folks that can add a positive contribution to creators, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs in more ways than just growing your business. Because it's not just about growing your business, it's about growing yourself. No activity in the world will teach you more about personal growth and self-development than trying to build a business. So these conversations are really encouraging. I think some of the comments in there in the chat are exactly what we're looking for, people to engage in these conversations. And you mentioned it a number of times throughout. When you talk about things that are uncomfortable, when you do things that are uncomfortable, they become easier, and you give people permission to engage in the exact same way that you are. So I think it's a really positive thing.
Awesome. Christina, thanks for that feedback. I'm thoroughly enjoying building these shows out with you, and I thought we had a great conversation. The structure was great. Some great nuggets from Johnny, from AJ. Zeglen, thanks for joining us today, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed this. I always enjoy my opportunity to come on the show and talk with you guys.
Awesome. And Business Athlete Nation, you're going to be seeing more of AJ as we continue to build our offerings here in the lab. Our League of Business Athletes program and rolling out here in the coming days and weeks, where you get a chance to work with guys like AJ and Marty and John and Christina and nutritionists. And, we build business athletes here in the lab. That's our ambition here, gentlemen. So as you guys are waking up going, oh, shit, I need to get my shit together, we're building a team to help you get your shit together here in the lab. So going to go around the table and close it up. Johnny, yesterday was rest and recovery day, getting yourself resorted out. What's on the agenda today, brother?
Today I got back, but more importantly, I'm going to the salon to get a pedicure with my wife. She gets the fingers and toes. I just get the toes.
Yeah, you and me both, brother. Dude, we got similar. That's good, man. I like that. Marty, what's going on your pal? You got your truck back yesterday?
Yeah, man. I got leg day. Got some clients and just doing my thing, man.
Just doing
on the podcast.
Nice.
For tomorrow, and yeah, that's it. Chill day.
Nice. AJ, I'm grateful you were able to give us 90 minutes today. What do you got going on the agenda next there, pal?
I got a quick workout for myself. I'm still chasing some bench press goals in my life. And
let's go.
And then I got obviously clients coming in. I got some hockey guys coming in after, and then I'm off to the clinic for some of my mental performance people that I'm working with.
Beautiful, beautiful. Tina,
Yes, sir.
you're back as well. Here you were away for the weekend with the wedding. Kids are going back to school next week. So are you and Aaron just getting things sorted out before the kids go back to school, or what? Yeah.
Yeah, lots of prepping and still working on the mental game. So I'll have a meditation session later on this afternoon, and
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna get busy next week. So we're on it.
Awesome. And for all of you that tuned in today, Cam, love having you in the comments. Good time. Adam, Enzo. Who else do we have here this morning as well? We had Luke joining us as well. We had we had Manila joining us. Tangerine joining us from Manila. Dancing on the Sun, and everybody else that joined in today. My lovely bride, Lauren, I know you're tuning in upstairs. I love you, baby. Have a great one. And everybody else, have an awesome day. We'll be back to continue the chat tomorrow, continue our conversation around men's insecurities. And Marty and John, we get Adam House joining us tomorrow at the bottom of the hour as well. We're going to talk some entrepreneur stuff, and we've had Adam on the show before, so we're going to continue that conversation with Adam as well. So, Christina, I'll come knock on your door after. Producer Jimmy, thanks for your help as always. And Nation, we'll see you guys here tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, leave a comment on the channel. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow.